Marok, I'm saying it, is Canaan. And this is why I believe Marok is Canaan. So
What?
if you look in Arthurian legend, Marok means werewolf.
Yeah.
Canaan was brought back as a spirit wolf, as the lost wolf. Okay.
Meddler's Corner! Yeah, tune in, let's go! Dropping into a galaxy far away, talking cosplayers and the roles they play. From the actors to the prop makers' art, every single fan plays a vital part. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life.
Hello, meddlers, and welcome back to our week 3 of Maul Shadow Lord review. I'm here with my friends David Beal, Matt Durham, and our special guest Bobby of Rebel Scum. How are y'all doing today, guys?
Great.
So we had a huge week for Star Wars. Matt and I attended YC3 here in Amarillo. We had a great week, and Emily Swallow got to join us. She got to toss some frogs in our little Grogu pond that we have made, and it was really, really cool. And we had some people that came up from Lubbock from our West Texas squad, and they made this gorgeous pond. It looked like real water. It was clear resin, like the rocks were all in it and pebbles, and you lift it up and it's like 70 pounds. They loaded this thing, but man, it is absolutely incredible. We got to get a video of Emily Swallow throwing some frogs into the little pond, and she had a great time with us and got to escort her to her panels. But also this week it's Matt Durham's birthday week. Happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So what'd you get to do for your birthday, man?
I got a massage, and then I didn't do a massage, then nothing, but I did get to watch Maul on the day of release, so I was happy about that.
So we got our special guest Bobby here. Bobby, what are your thoughts?
Just
10 out of 10.
Absolute cinema. It has been incredible. It has been suspenseful. It has been incredibly interesting. It has introduced characters that I didn't expect to have in this series, like Captain Lawson, for example. I wasn't really expecting going into this show that there was going to be a lawman foil to Maul and what he's trying to do on Janix, but it was a very nice surprise, and so far it has just been incredibly entertaining. So now that the Empire's here and there's been some engagements, I'm very excited to see how it escalates.
Yeah, I love the cinematography. Like, I mean, we've loved that so far, but just something I just noticed because I was just kind of watching before we got on to the recording. I was noticing that there's, the paintbrush effect that we've all, really romanticized. It's just so amazing in the background. But there was one scene where it was like a paintbrush in the background, like a bokeh effect, like a blur effect. And then the character went away and the blur came true. And so it's like they are programming in the blur effect on some of like the paintbrush look on the blur. Like that attention to detail with the cinematography is just absolutely fantastic.
So we're going in now. We have episode 5 and 6, and we got a face front view of Marok. As we're recording this, the episode that I sat down with Paul hasn't aired yet. It'll be coming out tomorrow, which is technically when this show comes out, the day before. So we have a few things that I think we just need to get it out of the way. That kitchen scene, the corridor, hallway scene.
Another one.
That was the first thing. That was the first thing I thought of. Because I'm like, it doesn't matter what. It's like, do we have to call these, like, identify? I knew you were going to say that.
So I looked up the definition of hallway, and it said small, closed, narrow corridor. And I mean, he enters, there's that corridor of the entryway, so it counts.
Yeah, part of it was, hey, you know what? If the Sith Lord is going to be in my kitchen, I'm going to call it too. That's cool.
We are now in the Empire's in full effect. And I absolutely love how Star Wars is playing to what we have in our day-to-day lives. They do a great job with, what we're going through and what the world is seeing, and then also portraying that in their own story and animation. I just wanted to get y'all's takes on that.
I don't know if I see a whole lot of current real-world comparison, or at least not modernly compared to Maul as of this moment. But I will say I am excited to see that the full strength of the Empire and the Empire's gear hasn't quite set in yet. We're getting some of the new stuff. We have an ISD hanging over the city of Janix. We have the lats that once used to drop heroic clone troops and were symbols of freedom and liberation are now symbols of oppression and occupation. And it's also just really cool to see the Empire still using lats. Honestly, they probably should have never ditched them. It's just a great ship with a great design. And then we're also seeing the TK troopers that were established in the Bad Batch, which it's really cool to see that the Empire is still using those, but for how much longer? Because we know they're going to ditch the TK gear entirely and soon. It's just a matter of when, really.
Okay. David, I know you had you and I were messaging a couple days ago. What were your takes on, now that we have the Empire taking over this planet?
Yeah, I think Star Wars, like even back in the day, we've already kind of referred to this and everybody has, but it's always been, reflection of whatnot. He's saying, like, I think Matt was mentioning a couple episodes ago, like the Viet Cong, and like Star Wars was a representation of that. And I don't think that things have to be like this is exactly this proven thing here that happened, and this is like what's happening in the world with the Democrats, Republicans, or with the European or the EU, or whatever. Like, I don't think we have to draw direct comparisons. I think they can just be an overall cultural feeling, right? And so we have a people that are being oppressed, and then we have a police force that's coming in. And I'm not referring to any issues, but I'm saying that this gives you two sides of what's happening, and they're good and bad in this world. I don't think you necessarily have to always apply a label that this is like an exact allegory, but it makes you feel what the characters are feeling. And the reason why they're pulling out these kind of stories is because that's stuff that we have maybe seen in culture that we see. So I think it's great storytelling in a way, because you see what happens to the law enforcement agents and how they have to reconcile this, and you have to see that some people, like for instance, the character's names elude me, the son's mom is involved with this, and and also I think that was really cool, like that little Star Wars FaceTime scene, like with mom. But then she's like bends over and she's like, kind of like trying to be sweet with him when she's kind of kneeling down and stuff. And I'm like, that was just a really cool moment. Like when they were like, and I was like, I wish we had that. I wish we had hologram FaceTime. Apple, let us do that. Like, why not?
So Matt, what have you gotten this far? Because we had another Matt last week, but now you're back with us. So be ready for the pop quiz after this show.
The OG Matt.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question, I didn't really think anything. I'm gonna probably agree with David here that it was kind of a motif that we're all used to, and it's something, again, we can all relate to, and it's common Empire bullying themselves in when okay, that's what we really want. Okay, now we're gonna show up. We don't care about anything else that's going on until what our specific goal is comes to fruition. So I put real world scenarios. I didn't really look into it like that. I just thought, okay, this is the Empire. This is what they do. This is what we're used to. This is what we were all kind of seeing foreshadowed anyways. And so yeah, when they showed up in their Star Destroyer, I was like, okay, yeah, it's about to get rough. It's about to get rough.
And as Lawson said, the moment they're here, they stay. They never go away. And so, I got a little glimpse of when the Empire came in and the Lieutenant came in. Gosh, such great writing, such great voice acting. I do not like that character.
Yeah. I love the two power struggles with the, like, who is Captain so-and-so? Who's asking? I am asking. He didn't answer her question. He did the next line, which she like pushed back again. But it's just like so imperial. Like, you are beneath me, but way beneath me.
It's so interesting though, because it's like he's a lieutenant and she's the chief. So you would think there would be some mutual respect there, but no. Like Empire is like leaps and bounds. You are Empire, and then everyone else.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
When we did get that epic hallway scene in the kitchen, we got to see a really cool fight combo with Master Ikodaki and Devin. What a cool pair those two make when it comes to lightsaber combat, their training. And Devin, like, yeah, she's young, but she's locked in and she knows what to do with that lightsaber. What did y'all get from that?
I thought it was awesome. I loved when we first got their interaction with Maul, but Maul is, you can tell, holding back because he has plans for Devin and he knows the Force is bringing him and Devin together, even though he isn't quite sure why yet. And although clearly he has some kind of idea, maybe it's to give him another chance at having another apprentice, since he failed at it the first time with Savage. And then seeing it again, but with Marok, a character who is not at all holding back and genuinely trying to harm them and in their lives, or at least harm them enough to capture them for whatever else the Inquisitores might have plans for. Just the choreography of it all was really awesome, and seeing them have to try to fight in such a small space, and Eco and Devin are probably also at the same time trying not to wreck Lawson's house, even though it's probably kind of a moot point anyway, because it's not like they're going to be able to stay there regardless at this
Right.
point.
Real dick move too. Like showing up like that.
Lights on fire.
Well,
Yeah.
it took me off guard. Like Marok was there searching through the confines of Maul's hideout, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's at Lawson's apartment. Was he tracking him, or like I was just completely blown away? I was like, whoa, how on earth did he gain that?
So Marok went back to the scene where Devin and Iko Digodaki dueled Maul, which Lawson was also at. And we got to see a really cool look into some of Marok's abilities, which is, it looks like he can use that Force kind of echo ability like Cal Kestis in the Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order games, where he can re-experience a moment in time that has an imprint of the Force on it, from maybe something good or maybe something really bad, in which this case there was a lightsaber fight between Darth Maul and a couple of Jedi. So knowing that Lawson was there, I think that's why he instantly went back to Lawson's hideout, not because he thought maybe they would try to hide out there or meet Lawson there later, but because he thought he was already hiding them and working with them, since he obviously didn't reveal that there were 2 Jedi in the interrogation.
So you said something very interesting. We're getting, we're calling back to Jedi Fallen Order. Throughout this episode, we got some really cool callbacks. We got the troopers move along, and then we got, my favorite are those the OG sounds where the stormtrooper gets shot and falls, and you hear the ah and fall, like all those callbacks. What were some really cool callbacks that y'all got from these previous episodes?
This is going back to episodes 3 and 4. Watching Devin fight, her style is giving me very much Form 3 Sorenzo, very much. It feels like most of her battle stances, there's always call back to Obi-Wan. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Going into the newer episodes, as Saber Guild, as you were saying earlier in our messages, Maul practicing all the forms right there. You're just sitting there like, okay, which one is he doing now? I love that. That was super cool. I think my favorite one, though, was actually a callback to what Bobby was saying about the Empire being in that mid zone where they're still developing, like the stormtrooper we know from episode 4, and you have the gunships of the Clone Wars still being used. I love that. I was like, hey, they're still using them. Those are my favorite. The ball with the laser that shoots it just destroy. That's one of my favorite weapons. So when I saw that, I was like, yes, all right, back to prequels. Those are my favorite callbacks of these episodes.
Well, don't they? Isn't this the time? And I think it's really cool to see y'all nerding out about the saber technique. That's awesome. But isn't this the first time that we have an Imperial timeline with a master and an apprentice together, where the apprentice is trained enough where she's a Padawan, right? Like let's imagine like what we saw episode 2, Star Wars episode 2. with Anakin and Obi-Wan, right? Where they have an established relationship, so much so that they fight really well together. Like, there's even one thing that he's like, hey, she's going to be fine. You know, your son's going to be fine with her. I mean, they're like locked in. This is a power couple of Jedi together. I mean, they're a powerhouse. I mean, obviously a Padawan is not a, you know, knight or a master or whatever, but still, like, they're like a pretty sizable force. So it's interesting that even they couldn't conquer Maul, whereas, like, you know, you fight Obi-Wan and his master, you know what I mean? And, you know, they kind of, well, they halfway defeated him. If I can, they defeated half of him.
Yeah, I can't think of another example. I mean, we've seen other Jedi survivors or 66 survivors, children, adults, but yeah, I guess this is the first time we've actually seen a master and an apprentice surviving together. That's actually really cool. I didn't think about that.
So it goes back to like what we talked about, you know, when we first started our reviews, and we've always mentioned it. Dave Filoni is just giving us everything that he has, and I love it. I absolutely love it. There are some critics out there that are like, he's just feeding us way too much. I mean, but it's Star Wars. We're gonna want it anyway. I mean, we can't please everyone, but I absolutely love it. I want to talk about some theories on who we might think Marok is. I have mine, and I would love to share it with y'all if y'all are willing.
Before you do, I have to say, when Marok came in the, like, you know, Batman Joker style in like the with the captain,
Yes.
that was it was cool that the captain was like, I know this technique, so I'm not going to flinch, but that scares the hell out of me. But I want to say, and I said this to my son when we watched it at first, I was like, he looks better than the Ahsoka character. Like he looks better in this cartoon animated thing than live action does. Like, just how they did everything.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. Fantastic costume, and it's animated.
But also take in mind too, in Ahsoka, he was resurrected. So there was that.
Right. Okay. I mean, I assume, but I'm just saying, like, okay, yeah. So when he gets resurrected, he looks a little crappier. Okay, let's put that in canon. But I'm just saying, like, he looks cool.
It's also been about 40 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is true.
At least 30. It had
he
been
just
at
looks
least
scarier.
30 years from
Maybe younger.
his nice, clean, sleek, metallic black Inquisitor armor. And then we know he's going to die because he is resurrected by the time of Ahsoka. So where was he? How was he kept? And did they dig him up?
I am going with the dig him up theory. Thank you for mentioning that, Bobby, because I did, and I stayed up till 12:30 2 nights ago. Research.
You wrote
research. Okay.
You wrote it down.
Put it on the wall. I did. So
okay.
This is my theory. Evidence-based research, facts. So I'm saying it right now because I had a discussion with Paul on this. Marok, I'm saying it, is Kanan. And this is why I believe Marok is Kanan. So if you look in Arthurian legend, Marok means werewolf.
Yeah.
Kanan was brought back as a spirit wolf, as the Loth Wolf. Okay. Still looking at my notes. He was quoted saying, and he has said it in multiple interviews, Paul said it with me as well, that Dave Filoni wanted Marok to be treated like a battle-worn knight. So knight is what I'm taking from this. We know that Kanan was never formally made into a master. Yes, he had an apprentice, Ezra. Okay, Ezra called him master, but he was never formally given the title of master. So here again, why would Dave Filoni just mention, treat him as like a battle-worn knight? Yes, he looks like a knight, but we're calling back to also Kanan. You know, he wore the mask when he was blind. You know, Marok has the visor in front of him. You know, if you look at the top, Kanan had a triangle on his shirt. I'm going deep into this, David. I know.
Yeah, I just
Kanan had a triangle on his shirt.
Okay, hold on. Let me pause you right here. You had me at BS when I was like, dude, they're not doing this whole like theory thing. You had me until mask. I was like, okay, the mask thing got me.
But if you look at the top, top, there is a triangle, little form of a triangle, and on his shirt that Kanan had, there's a triangle as well. But if you also keep going any further, continuing on with my notes. The next thing Paul said, and it's been in multiple interviews, and he said it again with me, treat him like a mangy dog. Okay, so now we're coming back to wolf. A wolf is also a canine. So I'm still on this, and I will say it here. Kanan is Marok.
Some
All
notes.
right. We'll see. We'll see. That'll be
There
fun.
would have to be some serious time traveling involved with that.
But they've done it before. Star Wars 1 is noted to bring characters back. We did see in Rebels time travel. You know, they went into the Force realm. They got Ahsoka back. So I'm just saying we're in a time of maybe. I mean, Matt and I from the Force of Others podcast talked about it. Are we maybe seeing some retconning here? I don't know, but
It's retconning.
I am.
Kanan is a child during Order 66. He's like, what, 13, 14 at the time. And Marok is pretty much immediately an Inquisitor. He's there in Tales of the Jedi when
he's the first brother, so he was
when Barriss Offee becomes an Inquisitor. So I don't see why a character like Kanan would turn to evil like that and then join the Empire and then not share this amazing time travel doomsday like ability with his Emperor, especially if he has this ability, which honestly could be any Sith, if that makes sense. So I mean I feel makes the time travel not make sense for him as a character either. And why would he be loyal to this Empire even as this knight persona with all of these abilities?
But we also saw when Kanan died, there was no body found. And Vader is known. I mean, we've gotten multiple different stories in Star Wars. You know, are we getting a Talon? We don't know. But where he was on that station and it blew up, we never saw an actual body. So could he have survived and they have taken him, they have wiped his mind and then made him into the Inquisitor that we know as Marok?
I always kind of say, like, when it comes to like time travel, I'm like, let's keep that to Star Trek, please. If I'm gonna do time travel, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the ejection seat and move on. But I mean, I see your point. I feel like if anything, it's more of like a which is a Dathomir magic thing, you know, coming in. But definitely 100%, let's put this on the internet, because if it comes true, Donnie Bedler, he said it first.
Speaking of Night Sister, call back to episode 3 when Devin first fights Maul on the platform. Did anyone else kind of hear, and this is a side tangent, sorry, but did anyone kind of hear when she screams? Did you also hear like Mother Townsend scream? Or is that just me?
Ooh, I
Like
don't
she
know.
gets mad and like she gets like really angry and like really tries to fight Maul, like she lets out a scream. I could have sworn there was like a slight Night Sister Mother Townsend scream that you kind of hear in there.
It'd be really cool to ask the sound engineer that, because I'm sure they do that all the time. I mean, you just have a bunch of samples and you smash them together. That's what Star Wars is.
I have to go back and watch that, Matt. Now that you got me on that.
That's cool.
I was like, wait, and then I saw. Of course, then my phone's listening to me, and then I saw, to continue on with the side tangent, when she force pushes him, the colors that they use to force push him, like you see green, like Dathomir magic green. I was like, okay, am I diving too much into this rabbit hole, or
I don't know. I'm gonna have to rewatch that scene.
I could have sworn it sounded so much like, you know, the Mother Townsend scream when she's fighting or something, and it's like, that was weird. Did I? Nothing. Just me? Okay.
No,
I didn't.
We have to rewatch it.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it, because now that you're saying that, I mean, I'm all about, you know, when we see Morgan Elspeth. I'm hoping we get more of that story here with Maul. I mean, because now we got Marok, so I'm hoping to see, you know, more of the Dathomir lore coming in, and more of the Night Sisters.
How it progresses from, you know, spoiler alert, Marok poofing into green gas. Okay, well then,
Something had to have happened.
Where in the timeline did that happen? So I don't know. Maybe after all the Marok speculation, maybe dark magic comes into it at some point. But I could have.
I just love that. Like 20 years ago, I was reading books about this, and I had like one friend I could talk to about this. But now, like, it's actually on Disney Plus, and I could like, I mean, there's more out there. You know what I mean? That's what I was doing before. I was like, Chewbacca died, and that was spoilers. That was EU stuff. Like, that was a big deal for me. That was a huge deal. He did not die in the current canon, but I'm just saying, when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh. And there was like so many things that weaved in and out, and you're like, oh, all these theories and stuff. And then now we have a whole new canon. But I love that we get more Star Wars, and we get good Star Wars. We've had some meh, we've had some okay. But this is, I think, the best of it. And, more to our points earlier when we were talking about production level and everything, they can throw all this kind of canon and this kind of weird stuff in, and then all of a sudden they can make, Marok some like time traveling mummy ghost fart dude, like Donnie says, which is cool.
Fart dude.
But they can throw that into like my original theory about how they're saying like the levels of like 1 being like episodes of Star Wars to like 9 and 10 being like EU stuff. In this kind of a show, this is really like kind of deep Star Wars stuff that might catch some people, because all of a sudden, I mean, I don't feel like on production day on this is going to catch a lot of audience, but I think there's going to be a lot of people that this pulls in back into Star Wars, because they're going to like, I might try to watch it. They're like, dude, I remember that guy. I really loved Maul. That was cool. Let's watch this. And they're going to be like, oh, dude, that was fun.
So at the end of episode 6, we see Marok coming back onto the Star Destroyer, and he's kneeling. What are y'all's takes, or what are y'all's theories on who he might be talking to? We discussed, hopefully, we're getting to see Vader in this show. We want to see a Maul and Vader duel. But I want to gather from y'all on who y'all think Marok might be talking to when he says there is a heavy presence of Maul.
It's either got to be the Grand Inquisitor or it's got to be Vader. But I'm leaning more towards Vader, because by the time of Rebel Season 2 and Malachor 5, when Maul is seemingly broken and defeated, doesn't look like he has the power of the Shadow Collective behind him anymore, he's on his own, he states that he cannot take Vader on alone. So we know he's going to have to tussle with Vader at some point and lose.
Yes.
So it being the head of the Inquisitorius, and Vader was more hands-on in the earlier days of the Inquisitorius, especially since he trained a lot of the Inquisitors, it would very much make sense that it's Vader that we see, especially if you're going to go so far not to show us who he's talking to. I mean, I doubt that one of the lower rank and file Inquisitors is going to have the ear of Palpatine himself. So it's got to be somebody important, but not the Emperor.
And so why would you think not the Emperor? My thinking is, and someone said it earlier on a different cast, and I was watching theirs, and they said that Palpatine has other stuff to worry about. But at the end of the day, Palpatine and Maul had that relationship early on. So why would it not be Palpatine? I mean, it could be. I mean, for me, if it's Palpatine, I would be a little disappointed. It's because it's like, oh, we've already gotten this. I want to see something else. But I think for Palpatine to have that notion of, oh, I'm going to let my other people do this, but it's Maul. I mean, we're talking about one of his apprentices that is no longer his apprentice.
Yes. But to him, he discarded Maul and already humiliated and defeated Maul on Mandalore. And after Maul escaped, he didn't bother pursuing him then either. He just let Dooku and Grievous deal with him. He had no interest. So I just don't see him stepping in. And I also don't see him working directly with Marok. I mean, I could be totally off, but just traditionally, Palpatine didn't really interact with the Inquisitors much in any of our other stories in canon,
right.
Other than the initial introduction of them. I mean, once he handed them off to Vader, it was pretty much like, okay, you deal with them. And then he only really stepped in one other time that I can think of in the comics, when there was a intense street chase across Coruscant that caused the death of a senator that Palpatine needed for some political thing he was working on at the time. And it was only because it directly affected something he was working on that he actually got involved. So, I mean, would it be interesting? Yes, but I really doubt it.
I also don't think it's the Emperor. I'm going to agree with Bobby here. It's beneath him. He's already humiliated him. He beat him. Whatever he had him do from that time on, he was like, all right, now I'm going to set you loose to do what I want you to do. I don't care what the end result is because honestly, it does not matter to me. Your plans on Mandalore don't care. I mean, I got what I need to do is happening already, and you're nothing to me anymore. You're not you're not an apprentice. You're not at the same level as me. Yeah. So I don't think it was the Emperor. I'm a toss up between Vader and the Grand Inquisitor. I don't know if Merrick has that same, as a first brother. I would think he first reports to the Grand Inquisitor first, but I mean, Maul might be a special case but then again, I would think Vader would go through I would think, again, y'all aren't real Sith. I don't really have to deal with you. Grand Inquisitor, tell them Maul's a top priority. If anyone finds out, go get him. So I want to say Grand Inquisitor would make more sense in my mind as far as the position of power, but I too want Vader to show up at some point. So maybe it's the Grand Inquisitor who then sends another brother, because I think one of the previews has the Plague Doctor
Crow.
brother, 11th, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, 11th brother.
So
Crow
maybe
Inquisitor.
it's Grand Inquisitor, and Grand Inquisitor says, okay, I'm sending you backup since you still haven't gotten him yet. I'm sending the 11th brother. The 11th brother comes. They still can't get him. And then maybe Vader shows up. That's what I hope the plot is, but that's wishful thinking. So yeah, I want to say it's the Grand Inquisitor first. That's who I think. But it probably was Vader.
We have 4 episodes left. I want it to be a hint of Darth Vader. I mean, I
want it to.
Yeah, I want it to. I just feel like story-wise, they got to progress this enough, and then they're going to have Vader come in the last episode, so they got to tease it a little bit somewhere. I mean, I think, like, that's me jumping into, like, producer mode. If I'm jumping into, like, canon mode, and I was the Emperor, I would not want a possibility of, there's always the rule of 2, so I don't want a possibility of somebody jumping in with Vader against me. Because Maul and Vader are a pretty dangerous combo against Palpatine, who's obviously the most powerful Sith that there is. And so, I don't know, in the end, I think it's probably just Murphy's Law. It's the easiest solution. It's just probably Vader, because I don't know. And also going back to producer mode, or going back to like marketing mode, I want it to be Vader because I want them to draw people in. If it's the Grand Inquisitor, kind of like we see in, was it Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, my point there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The whole thing fell flat. So I want it to be somebody fun.
Well, Bobby, thank you for talking about Maul. You got some exciting things coming up. You have now opened, or have you already had your grand opening yet for your Order 66 toys?
No, we're about to, though. The grand reopening for Order 66 toys is Saturday, May 2nd at noon. So we will be open noon Saturday, May 2nd, and we'll be joined by Diana Lee Inosanto, or better known as Morgan Elsbeth, a popular Night Sister that we talked about a little bit earlier tonight as well. She will be there in person signing autographs for Star Wars fans of all ages who come to meet her. And then the night before, Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time on the Order 66 Toys Facebook page, we will be going live with a pre-show live signing with Diana Lee for those who are not local or just can't make the trip. And there will also be a brief live Q&A during that time as well.
Very nice, very nice. So where's your store now going to be located?
So we are now at the corner of 15th Street and Independence in Plano, Texas. We are surrounded by a bunch of other awesome family-friendly establishments. There's a couple of dojos, a ballet studio. There's an amazing family-owned burger place called Edmonds. There's a card shop right next door to us called Zenith.
Dude, I don't know how you're able to manage it all with the store and then also Rebel Scum Con. Dude, you're a busy man. But thank you so much. You do have great help. I do know that. And dude, I can't thank you enough again for joining us and talking about Maul. Everyone, tune in next week as we discuss episodes 7 and 8. See y'all next time.
Meddler's Corner! Yeah, tune in, let's go! Dropping into a galaxy far away, talking cosplayers and the roles they play. From the actors to the prop makers' art, every single fan plays a vital part. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life.